This is the second annual For Our Future Conference, the University of Louisiana System Conference that brings faculty and staff from all over the state to one of our campuses for collaboration, for collegiality, to talk about the things that are going to drive us forward in the future. The UL system is 9 universities, 9 distinct universities with their own histories, their own traditions that work together to solve challenges for Louisiana. We serve more than 92,000 students at ULM, at Grambling, at Louisiana Tech, Northwestern State, McNeese State, UL-Lafayette, Nicholls State, Southeastern, and UNO in New Orleans. So we cover the state and we provide world-class educational opportunities, prepare people for life and career success.
The University of Louisiana system has a great vision to help bring institutional advancement and to certainly provide an advancement to our student population and allow them to be the most prepared and best educated generation out there. We want to create a good competitive environment by enabling our faculty and our leaders in our respective campuses to have all the tools and resources they need to be successful at preparing our students for the future.
The system is getting together to talk about some of the challenges and some of the responsibilities that higher education in our state needs to address, and working together as a system, multiple campuses all pulling in the same direction, we think we'll be able to make a lot more progress than we would just individually.
My name is Loida Lewis. I am here at the University of Louisiana System because I'd like to introduce my husband, who was the first African American to do $1 billion deal overseas. Black or white, nobody has done it yet. And he came from humble beginnings, but he rose to the very top of corporate America. And so by introducing Reginald Lewis, I hope to inspire the students, the faculty, the administration, that they can reach heights that they are aiming for if they work hard and never give up. From early on, he was taught the value of money. His grandmother had an has an empty can of Campbell soup, nailed it to the floor, put a slit on top, and he said, "That's your savings bank." So early on, he knew that he should save. That's one. And then when he was 10 years old, he wanted to earn his own money. He had the delivery. He was delivering the Afro-American. He started with 2, his family, neighbor, and then he raised it up to 100 clients, 100, what do you call it now? 100 people, subscribers. And he would go around, and you saw how his mother said, "All right, go on to your camp and I will deliver your newspaper." So he knew from 10, 11, 12 how to start a business and how to, make it grow. And so how does one succeed? You start from young age, no money management. And I tell people, you're earning 1,000, you're spending 1,200, you'll never make it. Okay?
We all know how that feels.
You have $1,000, you earn it, and you spend $1,000, you won't make it. So savings or handling money, 10% put away, another 10% tithing, put that away. So really what you own is 80%. Okay? So that's one. Okay? Knowing where you're going. Because as you heard from Leslie, he was determined at 9 years old. I want to be the richest black man in America at 9. And so, having a goal and going there. So I think the most important is not to be disappointed with failure. In a way, failure is another name for success if you learn from it. So that's my, and you heard him. You keep going no matter what. You can't go this way, then go that way. Go this way. And there is always, never lose hope. Okay? Never lose hope, because there's always a solution to any problem. And it's up to you to look for it, to ask other people. Don't be proud. Or, you have to pray too, because God will give you wisdom.
My parents if I lived 1,000 years, I couldn't thank God enough for my parents, who gave me a solid foundation, who gave me confidence in myself, who mom, like treating the development of a fine piece of art, would shape my little afro. I did have an afro at one time. In the morning and iron my tough skin pants and send me on my way and tell me that she loved me. So every day when I would traverse elementary school, I would go out with a strong degree of I am somebody, because of the love that my mom would impart on me every morning when I would go forth. My father, who has dementia now, bless his soul, would say, if you gave me, my nickname is Roni, that's my street name, it's tough, Roni, all right? So if you know Roni, you have a power on the streets of New Orleans. But that determination brought me eventually to Howard University undergrad and then Howard University School of Law. The link with Mr. Lewis is that though the film talked about how Mr. Lewis gave $3 million to Harvard Law School, preceding that time he gave $1 million to Howard University. And I just happened to be a student at that time at Howard University in the late 80s. And so his influence, Ms. Lewis, directly influenced my worldview in how I decided to traverse life in a way that is limitless, boundless, visionary, in a way that I see no particular impediment on my ability to evolve and develop as a human being. So that's the linkage. And from in part, Dr. Henderson, your vision of bringing forth the filming and having concomitantly both of us talking about bringing Ms. Lewis here, looking at the film again for the multiple, I can't tell you how many times, I'm even more inspired to work harder. I'm even more inspired to utilize my God-given talents. And I'm even more inspired to manifest Mr. Lewis' legacy in a way that is, continues to be the profound contributions he's made to the whole of humanity.
Okay, well, as Dr. Henderson mentioned, I'm an attorney by training, so I guess I was working with I was doing legal work in the area, and I live in Ouachita Parish in Monroe, and I was approached about coming to lead I guess a part of this group, of this one parish economic development organization to administer a federal tax administration program. And I was like, okay, well, my undergraduate degree was in finance, so I guess I can do that. So I started doing that. Part of my responsibility meant going out and meeting business people, telling them about these tax incentives. Most of the business people I was talking to were white males, you know. Some of them looked at me kind of skeptically. Of course, first thing they think when you walk in the door is, what are you trying to sell me? You know, kind of dismiss you a little bit. But once you start talking to them and you tell them and you know, they understand that you know what you're talking about and you're trying to help them, they become, I guess, receptive to what you're saying. My group went on to merge with another group and formed actually a 14 parish region in North Louisiana. Moving into that larger group, I went more into economic development. Those who might not know it, we try to attract company, industry to the region. So we're talking to companies that might be national or international companies and convincing them that they need to come to North Louisiana, that we're a great place. They need to open their next operation there. As Dr. Henderson mentioned, there are not a lot of people of color. There are not a lot of women first in that arena, in that particular type job, and there are not a lot of women, people of color. So again, you're met with a little bit of skepticism from the people you're talking to, but the way to get past that is to let them know you know what you're talking about. You know, let them know that you're here for them, you are here to assist them, and you know, help them get there, and that usually wins most people over. I think by the time I've 5 minutes into a conversation with them, they see, if they did see color or they did see a female, they don't see it anymore. They see somebody who's there to help them, and I think that's how you approach every situation. Kill them with knowledge, and know what you're doing and go forward that way. I can say thankfully, I've been doing, I guess, economic development for about 15 years now, a little bit more than 15 years. I'm thankful to see it changing. I'm thankful to see more women in that particular industry, and I'm thankful to see more people of color. But like I said, I think the way to go forward is just to know what you're doing, like I think Mr. Lewis did. I mean, obviously he had an eye for finance and he knew what he was doing, and he didn't let anything else hold him back. He didn't let the color of his skin hold him back or his background hold him back, and I think that's what everybody should do to succeed.
Our two companies that I am vice president of and director of are both family businesses, and we're very fortunate that they've been passed down to now my brother and I running them into the 5th generation of our family. And that is, anyone who's worked in a family business knows, especially one that's lasted this long, that takes a lot of determination and a lot of diplomacy to get that far. We all work together, and my brother and I and our father are still very active in the business, and our mother as well. We split up a lot of the responsibilities and duties, so that allows me to travel, be in Baton Rouge as much as I need to, and now kind of being the principal over the commercial properties in Baton Rouge, which include the hotel. I mentioned my parents, and that is where I learned how to do this. I love to tell the story that I grew up in the state capitol. My father was sworn in his first term in the legislature, holding me at 4 months old. So I knew no other life than to pack up the car in June and go down and live in Baton Rouge while he was in the legislature. We had the wonderful opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. while he served in Congress. And I just knew politics. Well, that brings a whole side of community. We being from Vernon Parish, from Leesville, where I grew up, my dad grew up, my aunt and uncle across the street in a rural town. Community is what it's about, and church and school and the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts and all those different things. That was just part of our rhythm of life that we had. And my mother, though the businesses come in her side of the family, she stayed home and raised us all and worked as the church secretary and did her service with band parents and supported us in all of that. So that was a tremendous example that we learned from. And again, I kind of am excited to say that some of you know and some of you don't know, I'm actually following her footsteps again. Because she served on the LSU Board of Supervisors under 4 different governors, actually, Democrats and Republicans. I think she may hold the record on that, I'm not quite sure, for 18 years. While we were growing up, my sister and I were in college, our brother was in high school, and so we learned that balance from watching both of them and taking care of business when it's business, but always making sure that family is a priority and making time for all of that. I'm so fortunate that we still have them both, and our children are getting to grow up with grandparents, which my children did not get. I did not get that opportunity. So it's a legacy that they're passing on, if I could say that. That's kind of bold, but it's really how we have done business all these years. And from Daddy's law practice, which was built in his father's gas station, years after his father passed away, Daddy was able to do that, and we learned that family is probably one of the most important things. I think it's something we all can relate to, especially in South Louisiana. Family and even our extended families are so important to us in this state, and I'm just very fortunate that that's the example I've been taught. And as far as working in education, I've had the opportunity to volunteer in my children's schools for years and years. Like I said, follow my mother's example, learn from her. I think one of the greatest lessons she taught me was go to everything you can go to. You can't be at everything, but get to know, as far as LSU, get to know the students, get to know the faculty, get to know the staff, know the parking attendant at the basketball game, know the security guard at the gymnastics event. These are the people you're working for. You're not working for those who sit up on that dais with you. This is what you're there to do. And so that really energizes me and excites me to get to know these folks and the students, whether it's at LSU in the main campus in Baton Rouge, whether it's in one of our ag centers, and then the opportunities to come and share my enthusiasm for what we're doing in Louisiana, because what we're doing at LSU, like what you're doing in the, at UL-Lafayette or in the entire UL system, coming from Lake Charles, knowing how important McNeese is to our economy over there, we just have a great opportunity, and I'm honored and excited that I get to be a part of it at this time of economic growth in the state, and where we see such great advances in education. And I'd have to wrap up by just saying I'm really honored to be the LSU representative here and be with you all at UL, because, you know, we all are working together for the same goals in this state. And
I was here in the fall for new student convocation. Joe invited me, and it was magnificent to see the Cajun Dome filled with these wonderful students with these great ambitions, and they brought out examples of success from their own graduates. And that's when I met TRE'JAN Vinson. And I listened to his story of how he had a dream and how he pursued that dream and how that dream has now been realized in some tremendous success. And so TRE'JAN, thank you. I know that that path has been perfectly smooth, no obstacles, no setbacks ever at all.
None at all.
Yeah.
The first thing with the path is accepting that there is obstacles. And then the second thing is realizing that you can only go as far as you can see. The four of us, because it's four of us that own KOK, we realize that you have to accept that it's not going to ever be fair. It's never going to be perfect. There's never going to be the time to where you look up and you look out and every day is a good day. As an entrepreneur, you have to accept that, as an entrepreneur, you have to accept every day is a problem-solving day. That's what it boils down to. What are you willing to do day to day and for how long to get to where you want to be? And then once you settled on that and realized that something has to give, the four of us sacrificed. That fall semester 2016, our minimum wage, $7.25, going to school, no real, like they said in the video, no real capital. The four of us, our parents, they supported us, they were positive, but there was no capital. The only thing that we could do is do what was free, which was social media marketing, which was getting ourselves out there, which was interacting with our community. We made sure that we got real close and real knit. If you don't know, all four of us are fraternity brothers. We were raised on the same code, and we created that bond. We created that emotional, because that's what it really boils down to, emotions and faith. You're dealing with non-tangible goals. As an entrepreneur, especially in college, while working, while taking everything but rent, everything but exactly what you need to survive, and put it back into the business. You never get the day to enjoy yourself. You don't get to go to the parties anymore. You don't get to enjoy the other part of the college experience because you're thinking about the vision. We all came together and realized that camaraderie was the only way that we would ever be successful. If that we all four of us sacrificed what it took. And that path is still going forward. It could have stopped at the house, but that wasn't our vision. It could have stopped at the food truck, but that wasn't our vision. And it could stop right across the street at 405 East University, but that's not the vision. The vision is never ending for us. We have a goal, and we're working on it, day to day. And when the struggles come up, we realize where we came from. Is it truly a struggle when you know what you come from? And that's our path.
One of the practices that my daughter gives the student, first thing, is celebrate failure. And how is that done? Because in computer, you always have to, you don't always succeed at the beginning. And so each one in a class of 20 would stand up and say, I failed, and everybody claps. Another one, I failed, and everybody claps. So that they have the concept that if you fail, it's good because you learn from it. So, I know it's the other generation, oh, you didn't get 100, or you only got 75. No, you have to fail fast, and learn from it. And as I said, it's another name for success. Dreaming is good. You have to dream. But the important work is the daily devotion to follow that dream. It's no good you dream and then you watch TV. You dream to be a lawyer, but you don't read. So your dream must be crystallized in action, and it's hard work. But if you are determined to go where you want to go, then it's not hard work. It's play, really, because you love what you're doing.
What is the message that you want to get out from today's conference?
We want people to understand the return on investment they get from higher education and the UL system in particular. We just had an economic impact statement come out that was done by an independent group that showed that the UL system and its member institutions have a $10.9 billion impact on the Louisiana economy. 1 out of every 18 jobs in this state are supported by the work of the UL system and its alumni. So we're an integral part of the fabric of Louisiana. We're part of our communities, and we're here to make Louisiana more competitive.
We've been very blessed with the stabilization of funding that has occurred over the last few years, and I think the TOPS funding has been critical to, again, support students and their preparation for their future. It is critical that we continue to see that maintain a high level of continuity, and I think that that's going to continue to bring stability to our enrollment, to our students as they prepare and advance in the future, and certainly keep us in a competitive spot as we recruit and retain good, solid faculty.
Higher education affects the economy, it affects employability, it affects people's quality of life, it affects communities, it affects workforce. Essentially, it affects all the aspects of the quality of life in a community. And so we need to do our jobs and continue to do our jobs better so that the communities can get better.
So far, this has been a very incredible experience. I know it's our greatest attendance level ever, more than anticipated, and I'm really excited that we did a good job of preparing and bringing the talented people that we have into this conference. I think it's a great experience and opportunity as we go from campus to campus. It allows our leaders and our faculty to see the showcase opportunities that are advancing at each campus, and I think that those things will be contagious. So it's exciting, and I think there's good energy here, and I truly believe that we're going to see some good things come from this.
It's always great to see these people come from around the state. They realize that some of the challenges they deal with are universal. They realize some of the solutions that others have found might work at their own institution. It's just a great time to bring educators together and refocus on our mission, which is developing talent that makes our employers competitive, developing individuals that can contribute to the richness of life in their communities, and that they can then contribute to the life of the next generation to come.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
Certainly, they can go to our website, which is University of Louisiana System, ulsystem.edu, or they can always get me on Twitter at Dr. J.B. Henderson. Love to connect with them in that way.